How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thank you so much for tuning in, and in this video I want to share with you an update, a 3-year 38,000 mile update on my 2017 Hyundai Tucson limited all-wheel drive. I also want to share with you the problems that I've had with this vehicle and the costs of fixing those things and also maintaining it. And I'll let you know up front that I've only spent $250 to maintain this vehicle for the past 3 years and 38,000 miles. So that includes all the oil changes and all the routine maintenance. But before I get into any of that, let me give you some background of this vehicle and the reason why I bought it. This is the 2017 Hyundai Tucson Limited all-wheel drive. This has the 1.6 liter turbo engine that makes 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. That is a sufficient amount of power for a compact crossover like this one. I spent $32,000 to buy this car. This is pretty much fully loaded with the exception of the sunroof. I didn't really care for a sunroof because I believe that in the long run they just provide problems, so I decided not to get that. So why did I buy this car? Well, I was looking for a lot more space compared to a sedan. I needed something with more utility, and I also wanted something with a really good warranty, and that's the reason why I like Hyundai so much, is because they have the 10-year 100,000 mile warranty. So anything wrong with the powertrain, it'll be covered for the next 10 years or 100,000 miles. And in my case, I have 7 years left and about 62,000 miles left, so I feel pretty comfortable. If you're shopping for this in the used car market, I looked at the Kelley Blue Book values for something that's around 38,000 miles, also in immaculate condition because I've taken care of this pretty well and this thing is in excellent condition. You can expect to spend about $18,000 to $20,000 for this car. It sucks that the depreciation has taken a good chunk out of it, but that's going to happen with all cars. Okay, so let's discuss the problems that I've had with the Tucson for the past 38,000 miles. There have been 0 serious problems that I've had with this car. I will let you know that there's currently a class action lawsuit going on with a lot of vehicles that have these 7-speed dual clutch transmissions. Now, let me give you some background on these transmissions, because this is an automatic transmission, but it works a little bit differently than your traditional automatic transmissions. Traditional automatic transmissions have a torque converter, that's a hydraulic coupling, so that the connection between the engine and the transmission is done a little bit more smoothly, whereas this one behaves more like a manual transmission. There's actually 2 clutches in here and a robot that engages and disengages those 2 clutches to switch the gears. So instead of your left leg doing all the work and you shifting into the different gears, it's all been programmed in here, and as a result it shifts very fast, very quickly, and it's super responsive, and also it's fairly efficient. So going back to the class action lawsuit, that's actually affected other models outside of the Tucson. It affected model years from 2015 to 2017 Hyundai Sonata Ecos, the 2016 to 2017 Hyundai Tucsons, and also the 2016 and 2017 Hyundai Veloster. For the 2016 model year of the Tucson, they actually recalled 41,000 vehicles. That was the first year that these transmissions were introduced, so there were problems of stalling, hesitation, and loss of power. For the 2017 model year, I haven't really experienced any of those issues. I think they've reprogrammed the logic a little bit. Again, those are just some of the problems that you normally run in like first year vehicles, but for this one, this is the second year they had a crack at it, so I think they solved a lot of those issues. So far so good. I'm not really too worried about the class action lawsuit that's going on with these transmissions, because I do have that 10-year 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. If you are picking these up on the second-hand market, be aware that that 10-year 100,000 mile warranty doesn't apply to secondary buyers, only for the original buyer. So if you're picking these up on the second-hand market, just be aware of that fact. If you want to know more about the class action lawsuit, I'm going to put a link down below in the description box, so check that out. So other small problems that I've had with this vehicle is the lift gate. This comes equipped with some sort of a smart lift gate where you could just, if you have the key with you, you could just walk behind the car and it'll sense that the key's there and it will open up the lift gate automatically. At some point that just stopped working in this vehicle, not sure why, so I brought it into the dealership and they replaced it for free. Another problem that I had was something that I wasn't really aware of, but there was a recall on the temperature sensor. So when I took it in for a routine oil change, they replaced it under warranty. And lastly, the last problem that I've had with this vehicle is getting a tire bubble on these 19-inch wheels. I don't have those wheels on me right now because this is currently winter time, so I have a set of winter wheels and tires. But the downside of having a 19-inch wheel, which is the standard wheel and tire if you got the limited trim for the Tucson, is that the larger the wheel, the thinner the tires, so therefore the possibility of getting those bubbles anytime you run over a pothole is very high in a low profile tire. So I've discussed the problems, let's discuss the costs. Like I mentioned before, I've only spent about $250 to maintain this vehicle for the past 3 years and 38,000 miles. There's two caveats to that. The first one is that I'm excluding all gas and all insurance costs because those things vary depending on the person. And in terms of mileage, I've been getting pretty decent mileage. It's about 27 mixed. If I just drive purely highway, I can hit 30 or 31 miles per gallon. So this is pretty decent given the weight and the size of this vehicle and the fact that this is all-wheel drive as well. So I like that a lot about this vehicle. But all those costs I've ignored for this analysis. The second caveat is that I bought this car from a dealership which provides free oil changes for life. Now, not all dealerships do that, and that's a really nice benefit considering that oil changes are between $20 to $60, or it can be even more expensive depending on the type of oil that you use. But in a 10-year lifespan, that's a pretty good chunk of change, because if it's $20 to $60, it could be about $400 to $1,200 in savings over the life of the vehicle. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons of getting your oil changed at the dealership. I think one of the benefits is that since you're there, they'll also take a look at all the recalls. So if you have any sort of like warranty work that needs to get done, you're right there and they could take care of it at the same time. The downside is that the labor rates of the dealerships are very expensive. So expensive enough to kind of offset those free oil changes. If you know of any other pros and cons about getting your car maintained at the dealership, please let the other viewers know in the comments below and we can get a conversation started. So with those two caveats, like I mentioned before, I only spent $250 to maintain this vehicle, and that includes 6 free oil changes, basically twice per year, and every 6,000 to 7,500 miles in between. As for tire rotations, I skip all of that. That's another way of saving money, and that's because I have a second set of wheels and tires. I have a winter set, and this is a public service announcement. Anytime I talk about all-wheel drive vehicles and tires, always have a winter set if you live in a very cold climate where it snows a lot. Just because you have all-wheel drive vehicles doesn't mean that you're going to do well in the snow. You still need good traction, and winter tires just perform so much better in the snow. So as a result, I decided to get a set of wheels and tires. I bought it from Tire Rack. It costs about $1,000. I got the 16x7 Sport Edition F7 wheels, and around it is a 225/65 R16 Michelin X-Ice XI3. Now, I've actually tested that winter tire on an ice rink, so if you want to see that video, please click the link up here. But it performed really well in an ice rink, so I trust that it's going to perform well in the snow around northern Jersey. If I were to get the dealer to rotate my tires for me, that would have been a lot of added cost. Probably enough to pay for my second set of wheels and tires. So definitely it's a lot more economical to just swap these tires out yourself. If you don't know how to do it, this is like one of the easiest things you could do for your car, and it's just a good way of saving money. So as for upcoming costs, because I'm about to turn 40,000 miles, there is a 45,000 mile service that I should do, and at that point there's like some things that you do have to replace, like injectors. There's a lot of things that you still need to inspect as well. So I expect that service interval to cost a little bit more money. They did suggest that my brakes were getting a little bit thin because of the amount of miles that I've been driving. So they did quote me to replace the rotors and pads. It came out to $1,400 for both the front and rear axles. So again, that's another proof that taking your car to the dealership to do all the routine maintenance, especially the big ticket items, could be really expensive. So that's probably something that I'm going to do myself. And I did take a look at TireRack.com for replacement rotors and also replacement pads for both the front and rear axles. All the raw materials came out to just $300, and also my time. It'll probably take one Saturday or something like that. So $1,400 versus $300 and doing it yourself and spending Saturday wrenching on your car. Me personally, I think I'll go to a route where I just replace the parts myself. So aside from that, I've been pretty happy with this vehicle. Driving it for the past 3 years and 38,000 miles. I think it's pretty damn reliable. And again, if it's not, I still have a lot of years in that 10 years and 100,000 mile warranty. Again, one of the reasons why I like Hyundai so much is because that warranty just can't beat it. Anyway, I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, please consider hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe, and also hitting the notification bell so you can get notified anytime we make a new video. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Shifting Lanes channel. I review a lot of new cars, so this is a different video for me actually. This is my personal car, but normally you find me in the passenger seat of a bunch of new cars. And we also have project cars as well, so if you care about any of that, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm going to wrap it up right here. This is my 3-year, 38,000 mile update on the 2017 Hyundai Tucson Limited all-wheel drive. My name is Hanson, and I will see you next time.